welcome everybody to the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jason.
Pat, there are 1,500 players right now in the college basketball transfer portal, and we are going to go over every single one of them during this show.
Break it down.
Right.
Yep, break all 1,500 down. No, it's just insane. That opened today, and now all of a sudden you've got 1,500 players in already. And, well, let's hope that Arizona can find a couple of them to come play for the University of Arizona next year.
Well, that's because Michigan has shown what you can do with the transfer portal. Pretty much all of their production came from guys, in the portal, whether it's Eli Cadeau, the point guard who came from North Carolina, or Yaxel Lundenberg, the big man, even though he was hurt, came from Alabama Birmingham by way of Arizona Western. So you don't have to use the portal, but you almost need to if you're Arizona, with a lot of the players they're going to lose, and only have a couple of recruits so far coming in.
Well, and the one recruit, Caleb Holt, is a great one. So we'll talk about him throughout this half hour, I'm sure. But if you look at the way rosters were constructed, Michigan, I don't know that you can bank on that every time. I think you still have to get some freshmen. But I think what Tommy Lloyd did was, with the 3 freshman starters, a 4th freshman in that 8-man rotation, might have been a little too heavy on the freshmen. So maybe there's somewhere in between where you can get to with veterans that can come back, with a couple of 5-star freshman recruits, and then a couple of guys that you can get out of the transfer portal.
All right, so that leads us to our Huddle poll question. We do it every week at the beginning of the show, and we vote, ask you to vote, and kind of see how things go at the end of the show. And this week's Huddle poll question is, it has to do with how much, what's needed the most in the Arizona basketball offseason regarding the transfer portal. Do you think the biggest need is A, point guard to replace Jaden Bradley, B, front court, given Awaka's a senior, and we don't know about Krivas? What about wing scoring versatility? Or D, we're good with high school recruits only? I think D is going to get the fewest votes. That's my guess. But really, you need all 3 in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think A and C are going to get the most votes. I happen to go with A. I happen to have gone with A.
And I did too. And I think part of that's because of the reliability of Jaden Bradley. He's been so solid and so consistent. Unfortunately, the officials decided that a couple of his moves to the basket were offensive fouls, which I didn't agree with, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter what my theory is. That was the only disappointing part to me. Well, one of the only disappointing parts to me of that game was Jaden Bradley sitting on the bench. But he is so valuable to this team. How are you going to replace that? Well, you're not going to replace it with just one guy probably, but it will help if you could get a portal guy, and that's kind of, from what I understand, that's the main focus of the portal for the University of Arizona right now and for Tommy Lloyd and his staff, and that's to get a point guard. So I went with A.
Hey, yeah, I went with A too. I mean, but you could make a case they're going to need a lot of wing scoring, right? If Braden Burry is going to the NBA. I think really the question marks here, I think we really think that Koa Pete is probably going to the NBA. Yep. I think we think Braden Burry is. I would guess that Mo Krivas is.
I don't think so. No, I disagree. I think there's a chance he could. But I do think there's a chance he could come back. I think there's a slightly better chance of him coming back for one more year than there is for him to go to the NBA. That could change if things start heading that way towards the draft and he moves up the draft board or something. But I think, to me, while Mo Krivas played okay in the Final Four game against Michigan, I think you could see that he is not quite where he needs to be, and maybe that'll be an impetus for him to say, I need to come back one more year. I need to be the guy that's so dominant that I go up into the top 10. Because right now he's not a top 10 pick, right, like Burries and Pete probably are.
Pat, he would get more minutes because really he played about, 25 minutes, and Awaka played maybe 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. There would be a situation next year where he could be the guy getting 35 minutes. Right. Whereas a CD Gay or somebody else is kind of his backup, who just kind of comes in for him when he's off the court. So, he could get a lot more minutes next year if he does come back. And then I think the other big question mark that we don't know is just Ivan Karchenkov. We don't know what's in his head about what his big plan is. I know he wants to go to the NBA, but I don't think he's
not
ready for that.
Right.
But could he decide, hey, I just want to play
go back to Europe,
Europe, or could he be a multi-year player here?
Here's what I like about the Tommy Lloyd contract extension, obviously that was the big win of the weekend. It wasn't on the court, it was off the court for Arizona. But in the details that we've learned about this contract is more control over the NIL money and the amount of money that they'll be getting from the boosters. And that money will go up compared to what it was supposed to be. And I think that's going to be key for keeping Karchenkov, for keeping Mo, for attracting a guy like Jackson Shellstead, the Oregon point guard, or whoever they get from the transfer portal. If you've got a little bit more money now to give to these players, because that's what it comes down to, Jason. If I can make $3 million at Vanderbilt or $2.5 million at Arizona, I'm probably going to take Vanderbilt. That's just what the guys are doing now. And so if you need to up that a little bit in order to get a forward that scores, a shooting forward or a shooting guard, whatever you need, you got a little bit more money now to put towards that, to point guard, let's say.
But I think Ivan Karchenkov's decision will have a big impact on Dwayne Aristo. They are the same position, Pat. And if Ivan Karchenkov is coming back, I mean, do you see Dwayne Aristo playing big minutes at the 2? Or the 4, maybe the 4 in a smaller lineup.
Right, in a smaller
but
lineup.
he's really a small forward, and he and Ivan Karchenkov really are kind of the same position.
Yeah, they are, but they're both really great defenders, and maybe there's a way you can play them. Maybe they each play a third by themselves, and they play a third in the middle together, and they play a third. You see what I'm saying? You can make the two guys be on the court almost simultaneously and get the same kind of minutes. There's a lot of things you could do. While they play the same position, they're not exactly the same player. I think Aristo's a better three-point shooter than Karchenkov. Karchenkov's a slightly better defender. They're both very good defenders, though. And that's why I'd hate to lose Aristo.
And you've got the two guys who redshirted last year, which is Bryce, who Tommy Lloyd has said made big progress.
Big progress.
And can't wait to get back in the gym with him, right? And then the other would be Mobile Mahut. And he and C.D. Gay, are reserve big men, and we'll see what happens. Usually there's a surprise in there.
Usually somebody
who
goes,
leaves we
right.
don't think. I mean, did we really think that K.J. Lewis was going to leave the minute after the season ended?
Right.
Last year.
I think he regrets it, but yes.
I think he's back in the portal.
He's back in the portal. I've even seen some say he might come back to Arizona. I don't think that's happening.
I saw that report.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen. I mean, anything can happen.
No, but he's almost that same position as Karchenkov and Aristo.
Right. 6'4", and so
if he
I
all of a sudden became a top point guard, then we could bring him back.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not.
But I don't see that, and who knows what the relationship is like. After you leave and that whole thing. So
I really want to, before we move on, can we talk a little bit about Ryan, our producer, put together this nice little lower third graphic about the freshmen underperforming, and I think it gets back to what we're still talking about, and that is what Michigan did with those. We used to call them upperclassmen. I think we can just call them veteran players that aren't freshmen, and it just seems to me like on that, You've got the first round of the tournament, and it's great. Then you go to the regionals. The regional final for us was San Jose. You were there. Then there really is. You and I know we stepped out on that court in Indianapolis. It's just a different experience, and it's hard not to be overwhelmed. It's overwhelming for us to step out there and go, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how you shoot on this court." And for Michigan, I'm not saying that they had a lot of experience playing in a dome, but they didn't seem to be off their game at all, either Saturday night or even last night when they beat UConn. But for the three freshmen for Arizona, it wasn't even just necessarily the sight lines with the shooting. They were just uncharacteristically losing a little of their focus and composure. It seemed like three freshmen combined for 12 for 42, the three freshman starters. The shooting was off, but a lot of things were off. Their passing was off. They were turning the ball over. They weren't getting back to. They weren't helping on defense the way they have and they should. So I think Tommy Lloyd said, "We're going to learn from this and we're going to move on." I think that's part of the learning from this is 3 freshmen worked great all the way up until it didn't, and it didn't on Saturday night.
But Tommy Lloyd had been to the Final Four before, twice
Yeah.
as an assistant
Yes.
coach. I do agree with a point because I've been to the earlier rounds. The difference between the first 2 rounds and the middle weekend is nearly not nearly as big as the difference between that middle weekend and the Final
It
Four,
is.
especially when you're playing in a football stadium. But Tommy Lloyd had been there. You know, his message to the team was, don't make too much of this. You've all won state championships. Treat this like a state championship. I don't know. I'm almost thinking like, hey, this is not the state.
This is not the
this
state
is a little
championship.
different here. We
Yeah.
need to go out with we need to go with a renewed purpose and focus.
Yeah,
to start this game.
and here's the
But ultimately, Pat, they just ran into a better team. We can
Yeah.
dissect it this here and the matchup here, and Jaden Bradley called for an offensive foul. Michigan was the best team in the country.
Yep.
Arizona, which, by the way, is going to finish 3rd in the AP. Arizona, UConn, Duke, in that next 3, if you will.
Yeah.
Then put Illinois and a couple of other teams, and that's what they were. But that's why you play, and that's why I wanted that number 1 seed in the West so badly.
I did too.
Because I didn't want any part of Michigan or
Right.
God forbid they were in the same bracket. They would not have made
right.
the Final
Say they
Four.
were a 2 team against
Yeah.
a 2 seed, they wouldn't have. And I really do wish that Arizona could have played, say, an Illinois or even a UConn in that first game in the Final Four to get over those jitters, to get over the overwhelming nature of the bright lights and huge arena.
I'm not sure they would have beaten UConn. I know they beat UConn during
maybe,
the season, but that was
maybe
without
not.
their starting
Maybe
center.
not. I think there's a lot to be said with just getting your feet wet a little bit in that game. And unfortunately, when you play Michigan, you're down 10-1, and before you know it, you're down 48-32 at halftime. You know, and I don't know that would happen against Connecticut, who slows it down, who doesn't try to score at a frantic pace. Illinois, while they score a little bit faster than UConn, they don't score at the pace Michigan does. I think it was a bad match. You know, you're going to run into bad matchups sometimes. I think it was a bad matchup for that game. Had they played them last night, perhaps they'd have made it a close game like UConn did for a while, too. I guess we'll never know.
I mean, matchups are so big. There was no better Sweet 16 opponent for Arizona than Arkansas.
Right.
Who let them do what they do best, you know, right up against them. And this matchup, you know, I mean, you look at UConn, they had 20 offensive rebounds against Michigan. Michigan couldn't hit a 3 in the championship game. Best player ineffective and hurt, and they still won.
Yeah, they still won easily.
They still won.
Still pulled away.
That's what a
at the end.
national championship team looks like.
Ryan has put together a graphic, I believe. You talked about number 3rd in the AP with Michigan number 1.
I think they were the 3rd best team in the country.
This is what was impressive, though. These are the highest Ken Palm rankings since 1997 when they started keeping track of this. Duke still has the 99 team still has the highest Ken Palm ever. Michigan this year is the number 2 highest Ken Palm ever. Last year's Duke team was the 3rd highest, and this year's Arizona team is the 4th highest Ken Palm rating ever.
I think the way I'm reading that, Pat, you can tell me if I'm mistaken, with 3 of the teams being in the last 2 years, the way that I'm reading that is there is more, let's just call it wealth and income inequality, meaning the best players are now all going to the best teams, and you don't have those. You know, look, it's 2 years in a row, all the Sweet 16 teams were from power conferences, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have mid-majors taking some of those good players now because they're not getting paid as much. Now they can transfer, get paid more, not have to sit out a year. So the way I read that is wealth and income inequality. I don't understand the 1999 Duke. They didn't even win the title that year.
No, and I don't remember exactly why that has such.
UConn won the championship.
I don't know why
in
that
99.
has such a high Ken Palm. But when you've got the next 3 all coming from the last 2 seasons, I think you're partly right about that. I also think that we're seeing college basketball now at a level we've never seen before. I think it's the best we've ever seen college basketball. I think the Ken Palm rankings kind of allude to that. A lot of it is that you've got a situation where players play an extra year perhaps in college or come over from Europe to play because they can make as much money, if not more, here than they could in Europe. So it's kind of this perfect environment where guys can still make good money instead of going pro or stay pro in Europe.
All right, let's take a look at our 2-minute warning. It's a football term, of course, but today I have a feeling that there might be a little bit more basketball to it. Pat and I have not seen these questions yet. This is done by our producer, Ryan, who puts these together. It's supposed to be a rapid fire, one of our new segments this year that we react quickly to, and we'll do just that. And again, we have not seen these before, so they're kind of fun. It's the 2-minute warning here on The Huddle. He's Pat Parris. I'm Jason Barr. Coming to you from the KGUN 9 studios in Tucson. Following Arizona's Final Four loss, we're back in town. Our trip cut a little bit short.
A little shorter than
what we wanted. And okay, so first down. Will Tommy Lloyd and the Arizona Wildcats reach the Final Four in 2027 or 28? Oh, boy.
Oh, I know you're going to say no.
That's a tough one. Well, I don't see it for next year with where the roster is right now. But for 2028, I'll take the counter because Pat's going to say yes.
I think that when you have finally gotten over that hurdle of
how do we know what the roster is going to look like in 28? It's a faith-based answer.
Let me finish this, and that's all you can go with because
right.
you can't tell me that Michigan's going to be back or North Carolina's going to make it again because they got a new coach. We have no idea what the roster is going to be. So it really is about faith. You don't sign you don't sign Tommy Lloyd to 5-year contract extension if you don't have faith and optimism that he's going to get you back. And as he said, why don't we go back in the next 10 years? Why don't we go back 5 times?
Yeah.
If you go back 5 times in the next 10 years,
every other year.
You hit the lottery. And so I'm going to say that if you're planning on going back at least every other year, they'll make it back in one of these 2 years.
All right, second down. Who will be the most remembered player? Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good
question. From the 2025-26 season. The most remembered player. The first thought came to my mind was Koa Pete based on his 30-point performance and possibly his NBA potential. But then you think about Jaden Bradley becoming the Big 12 Player of the Year. Then you think about what Burris might do as a pro, and that's really tough. So I'm just going to go with the first thought that came to mind, which is Koa Pete, but there's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer. I think that it's possible to have more than one guy that'll be fondly remembered by Arizona fans. Jaden Bradley will be remembered forever. He will be one of those guys that's always, got a soft spot in our heart for Jaden Bradley, and we understand the sacrifices he made and the commitment he had to the program. But I think it's going to be Koa Pete. I've said all along, I love Braden Burris. Braden Burris is going to be making somebody really happy in the NBA to have him. But Koa Pete, when he finally learns how to really shoot well, because he's still learning how to shoot, and he's not the greatest shooter right now. When he gets that part of his game down, he's going to be a dominant player. He's going to be a very good player in the NBA.
Okay, third down. Who will win the 2026
I know who
Masters?
will not. Tiger Woods.
Yeah. I haven't been following golf that closely. I'd have to just throw out a name without really an expert opinion on it, so I'm going to pass. Pat?
It's hard to say who's going to get hot. I'm going to say Rory McIlroy is just going to be because
what about Bryson DeChambeau?
Bryson is always a threat, but rarely wins, whereas Rory, who has always been a threat and wasn't winning necessarily much, now is winning. I really think he's got the best chance.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bryson DeChambeau.
He hits the heck out of the ball, doesn't he? He just really makes great contact. We'll see, though. Always fun.
All right, curveball there on third down. Fourth down. Should Desiree Reed-Francois feel disrespected or slighted by Tommy Lloyd's new contract? Well, she's not going to feel great about it. If the reports are true that he's now going to report to the president of the university and no longer her, I mean, how can she feel? How can she feel great about that? That's not an ideal situation. So I can't tell her how to feel, but I don't know. And also, the reason why I'm struggling to answer that question is I don't know specifically what happened here to do that. Did she make a mistake that she should apologize for? Did she do nothing wrong and Tommy Lloyd has unrealistic expectations about something going on within the administration? I don't know. So that's tough to feel that way. It's tough to answer that question when I don't know the specifics, but I will say that it's not an ideal situation.
It's not an ideal situation. You're right about that. I'm not sure she's going to feel disrespected or slighted because I think she's focused on what she's supposed to do. She was brought in to get the finances in check and take this university navigate through the NIL fundraising segment that is now become so huge in college athletics, and she continues to do that. The problem is, as she was navigating one way, she ran right into Tommy Lloyd, and when it became apparent that Tommy Lloyd was potentially going to leave to go to North Carolina, they had to figure out a way to make this work. And I think to make it work to satisfy Tommy Lloyd, which was first and foremost, they decided to have him bypass Desiree and go right to Dr. Garamella, the president of the university. She might, there might be part of her that's a little bit like, well, why does he not like me? But I don't think she cares that most people in that athletic department, she's not going to be best friends with all of them. She's their boss and she's in charge and she's going to make tough decisions. And they have to deal with it. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. But all I know is the athletic department's budget is now apparently balanced, and the Board of Regents seems to think she's doing a great job. They're happy with where Arizona's athletic department's finances are. So can't they both do a great job and coexist and not report to each other? I think that's probably what they're going to have to do.
Look, Arizona basketball is a corporation. If you think this doesn't go on in corporate America
That's
and
right.
other places, it does.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, it's not that big of a situation. So that's our 2-minute warning. We were going to go back to our Huddle poll question, but we're having a little glitch. It just has to do with who you think. What do you think Arizona's biggest need in the transfer portal is? And I think it is the point guard situation. Like, they didn't have another point guard, on the roster in previous years. They've kind of had a couple. They haven't had one. So, Tommy Lloyd did win Naismith Coach of the Year. A little bit of an awkward situation because he has to accept the morning after the loss to Michigan when, arguably it could have been Dusty May, who turns around Michigan and wins them the Natty in his second year. So he kind of made a joke that the address on it was really to Dusty May. I don't know why Tommy Lloyd got it instead of Dusty May, other than that, they only had 2 losses the whole year. I don't know.
Here's the thing. The Coach of the Year was voted on before we got to the Final Four. And so, if you look at the Arizona resume and again, the Ken Palm, when they went into that game on Saturday night, Arizona was actually ahead of Michigan in the Ken Palm. They had and whoever won that game was going to come out as the team everybody thinks is the best team in the nation. It turned out to be Michigan, obviously. Remember, there are 4 national awards for Coach of the Year. There are 4 of them. Fred Hoiberg won the AP.
Right.
Dusty May won one of the other ones. Shire won another one from Duke. And Tommy Lloyd wins the Naismith. I don't remember the 2 other ones but there were 4 different organizations.
Split the 4.
So they split the 4.
It's just the timing of it.
Yeah, the timing was not great. And Fred Hoiberg was there on the Friday of the Final Four accepting the Associated Press award, and they got knocked out after winning 1 game, and so. It just goes to show you.
No, but he did something the program had never done.
No, and he deserved it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. I'm just saying Tommy was definitely a little, probably a little ashamed that he wins a national award right after getting their rear ends kicked the night before. But it wasn't an award for, did you win the game last night? It was an award for, how did you do for the entire season? We can't forget, 36-3 is
most wins by a head coach in his first 5 seasons ever,
and the most wins in a single season at Arizona. Lute never did that. Never had as many games played. But you know what I'm saying. There's no shame in accepting that award.
All in all, a very successful season. This team needed to get back to the Final Four. They had the roster to do it. We've shared this story a few different times, but we'll share it one more time. It was the first practice that the media was invited to, I think, in August, and the team looked a little bit different. And I texted Pat, and I wrote in the text, "You're in for a real treat this season. This roster is something special." Yeah. And you said you knew.
Yep.
And we also heard it a little bit in another news conference with Tommy Lloyd right before the season, where he kind of mentioned, "Hey, this is the team. He's got the horses this year." Mm-hmm. And so they did it, and they executed it. They got to the Final Four. They were a terrific team. They just weren't the best team. There was a team that was better this year in Michigan, and that happens. And but if they keep doing what they're doing, we can have a long run with this coach.
And I will say this, Tommy Lloyd's comments about, now we've got to look at what we did and we've got to make adjustments and do things a little differently. And I do think that, yes, as an assistant, he made it to the Final Four a couple times with Gonzaga, but Gonzaga didn't have, they never won the national championship. They made it to the national championship and they never won a national championship. I think he'll learn from that. We've seen him learn in his 5 seasons. We've seen him learn a lot from the loss to Houston in his first year in the Sweet 16, to that awful Princeton game that they knew they had to get tougher, to the move to the Big 12 where they had to get even tougher. And I think in a lot of ways, Jason, they need to get even tougher.
They needed more scoring. That was the problem after the Princeton game. He said they didn't have enough scoring.
That's true too.
Yeah.
But you need guys to step up. They just didn't have characters that stepped up either. They needed guys that were, they needed a Caleb Love to jump on my back. I'll win or lose, I'm gonna take over this thing. And then this year, you get a Burries and you get a Koa Pete and you're off to the races with a Jaden Bradley.
Well,
so
I
you got
can't
to take that
imagine
next step.
guys aren't going to want to play for him either.
Yes.
Guys are going to want to play for him.
Without question.
And that's super important. We see what's happening with the Tennessee women's program. I don't know if you saw that story.
No.
They don't have a player for next year.
How far they've gone from the Pat Summit days at Tennessee women's basketball. Wow.
Yeah, so everybody hit the portal. So people are going to want to play for him.
Yep.
And so I think that
they want to
bodes
play
well.
for him, and they've got NIL money now. If the average of the top 5 or 10 teams in the country if the average was 10 million for NIL, next year they're talking about 15 to 20 million. So you're going to have to step up, and that means do follow the Michigan model a little bit, maybe follow the Tommy Lloyd model, maybe mirror the two together, some freshmen with some transfers from the portal, and you got a $15 million roster. Yeah, that's what it's going to take.
2026. All right,
That's what it is.
This has been The Huddle. Thanks, everybody. For Pat Parris, I'm Jason Barr. It's KGUN 9 Streaming Sports Talk Show. We should be here right back at the same time next week. So thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time.